And we're now at a point where we're open for questions. Do any of you have questions on to any of our panelists or on the subject in general? Yes.
Have any of you calculated the difference that would make for charitable contributions over the long run? You'd mentioned, there would be less consumption, but how would that impact? Because a lot of rich families set up charitable funds, foundations, et cetera.
The answer to your question is no, I have not calculated that. I expect it would be a very interesting number, but I don't know it. I hope somebody else does.
In 2005, Department of Treasury did do a study because at that point, the death tax had gone from 55 to 50 to 49, 48, and so it was slowly declining, and they took that window of opportunity to put it against the template of philanthropic giving and kind of looked at it through that window. And at that time, their pronouncement was, as the death tax goes down, philanthropy is increasing. And they, of course, constructed an economic model that kind of showed the conclusion and why, as well as the evidence that was at hand.
So if you, I have not calculated the precise number, but if you have more economic growth due to the elimination of the estate tax, then lower income people are going to be better off. With more money in the economy, there's more to give to charity anyway. So this is also another consideration, and it comes in with Steve's discussion of dynamic versus static. These revenue estimates are very difficult to do. It's hard to pin an exact number. But more growth in the economy, more income from everybody means also more income for charity.
I know one of the observations that Treasury had, for example, is that without the death tax as something out there that would drive money into philanthropy, there would be more lifetime philanthropic giving rather than waiting until somebody dies. Next question. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
Just kind of crudely from an earlier study that you supported, the difference in the capital stock between the old law and getting rid of the estate tax would be close to $2 trillion. There's that much in the way of additional assets that people would have to hand from one generation to another in the form of charitable contributions or gifts to family. A lot of the trusts, by the way, are family trusts to make sure that the family gets the money. These aren't necessarily charitable trusts. So anyway, having an extra $2 trillion to give away is going to offset, I think, any bias that the tax change would give in the marginal incentive.
I mean, the object in all of this is to grow the economy. The more we grow the economy, the more we have environmental projects, lower income housing, all these additional benefits that we want. All these come from the additional economic growth, and that should be our object.
Next question. Yes.
What countries have currently eliminated the death tax, and what's been the result?
That's a very interesting question. A number of interesting countries have, in the last several years, eliminated their death taxes. Sweden comes to mind. They got rid of their inheritance tax about 5 years ago. Russia has gotten rid of theirs. China has gotten rid of theirs. Indonesia not only got rid of theirs, but they did a global advertising program welcoming people's capital because we don't have a death tax here. We have seen it either eliminated or substantially reduced in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Mexico has a almost non-existent death tax. Switzerland, of course, has no death tax as well. The highest death tax in the world will be America's in 2013 unless something takes place.
You've heard of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China. Brazil has a 4% estate tax, the other three don't. And by the way, China also doesn't tax bank interest. It treats its savings like a Roth IRA. They don't tax the capital gains on shares traded there or for foreigners. They have a lower tax on dividends than ordinary income. They're trying to lift 1 billion people out of poverty, and they're doing what they need to do it. And we ought to try growing faster by not beating up on capital the way the Chinese don't beat up on capital.
Good point.
They beat up on the internet, though.
Next question.
So the death tax is currently 35% on income or assets of,
An exemption of $5 million, which with a marital deduction and planning can be doubled to a $10 million exemption. And it will stay that way until January 1st, 2013, at which point the exemption will be $1 million and the tax will be 55%. It'll be the double nickel.
okay.
Unless the super committee changes it earlier.
True. Next question. I and the economists will remain here. Thank you so much for attending this. I hope you found this enlightening. Just one parting shot from the American Family Business Foundation. No taxation without respiration. Thank you very much.